folks. I'm welcome to the CDO interview series. I'm David Boone, associate publisher here with CDO Magazine, and we're partnered with the MIT CDO IQ Symposium and the International Society of Chief Data Officers in a series of interviews. Folks, listen, today I have the pleasure of sitting down and speaking with Andy Mann. And I tell you, this guy, he's a global technology expert, but he has really over 20 years of experience in the business. And I like him even more because he's a cyclist as well. So, and I don't know what they're doing out there in Boulder, Colorado, but it seems like everybody is in the technology business in Boulder. But here, listen, Andy, please, I would like to say, just can you give us a background about yourself? Tell us a little about yourself.
Sure, Dave. So good to be with you. Thank you so much for having me. My background, I started out in IT ops. I started as a trainee. I was actually too young to do shift work when I started. I was 17 years old. You had to be 18 to do shift work. But then I did IT ops for many years, did programming eventually. Automation has been a thread that's run through my entire career. I automated myself out of that first job. I've automated myself out of other jobs in the past as well. I believe in relentless automation. I've lived it. That got me into things like cloud computing. So I ended up working in product management, product marketing for vendors. I was an analyst for 5 years, and that's where combining automation, IT service management, and service delivery just made cloud computing so much more logical in my career. Subsequent to that, I worked at CA Technologies, formerly Computer Associates, doing a lot of work there around product and innovation, working for the CTO office there, doing a lot of innovation work, doing internal startups, stuff like that. More recently at Splunk for just on 6 years as Chief Technology Advocate. And that's where my passion for data really came forward and really showed me the importance of data-driven decisions. Previously I put a finger in the air, feel the wind, I feel this, I think that, but working with Splunk, working with the data, not just for my customers, but data on product development, data on innovation, data on delivering new systems in new ways. And so, and this has been something that's run through my career is this analytical approach to decision-making. And now I know it's a data-driven approach. So that's a little bit about my background.
Excellent. Oh, that's great. So, start us off, tell me, you do a lot of talks, and I know you have this kind of concept around, more data to more places for a better outcome. Give us, tell us about that, how you came up with that concept, and just can you expand on that as well?
Yeah, look, it's something I've thought about for a long time. It's originally, I think, from a William W.B. Yeats poem, that essentially if you can tell someone the truth in the way that they understand it, then they will believe it. And so bringing more data is about showing the reality of the world to people so they can make better decisions. That's what I mean about better outcomes. So when you think about digital and you think about cloud and mobile, all of these products and interactions and transactions, they're also ephemeral, very intangible. Data is all you can really use to make those decisions in this modern digital world. But you can get very bad decisions if you have tunnel vision. Think about, for example, one of the large camera manufacturers used data to sense when people had their eyes open. So you didn't get photos taken with people with their eyes closed. You take that family photo and Uncle Joe's always looking a bit sleepy because he's got his eyes closed. So the camera manufacturer did detection using data, but they had bad inputs. They didn't have enough data. They didn't realize that Asian people had a different structure in their eyes, and they didn't code that into the software. So it continually came up with false positives or false negatives, actually, saying this person has their eyes closed. And so this racial bias came from not having a right set of data inputs. The more data you get, the better you can create positive outcomes, eliminate bias, but also drive better feedback loops, drive continuous learning, drive continuous improvement. And so in a technology world, for example, something really simple. Let's talk about website access. A customer is accessing your website, maybe a bank, an insurance company, a retail site, a website. They come in and then they go somewhere else. So that data is available. Mostly IT people will ignore that data. It's a login, it's an access, it's going to a couple of pages, then it's bouncing out. Okay, fine. Marketing looks at it, they go, time on site, bounce rates, okay, that's important to us. But what if you actually gave that to your product people and your marketing people and said, they went from our site to our competitor's site. They visited our mortgage origination, or they visited our page for T-shirts or whatever it is. And then afterwards, they went to our competitor's page. We can see this in web access logs. This is data which shows a customer experience. So now if I provide that data to marketing, they can make decisions on making the website easier, putting a product discount in place, reaching out to that individual customer if they may be a high value customer, so that they can provide an offer to help them stay as a customer rather than churning. All of these are better outcomes for everyone, including the customer, driven by that availability of more data to make better decisions. So I guess that's what I mean by that, David.
Excellent. And so what, in talking about that, what verticals do you see that are taking advantage of this kind of digital transformation for what you just explained? And which ones are taking more advantage of it than others, really?
Yeah, David, I think it's more about businesses and leaders than verticals per se. We think of slower in verticals. You think about government, for example. We always think government moves very slowly. And in fact, some government teams are doing really well. So education as well. We think about education as tends to be a little bit slow moving compared to more innovative spaces like entertainment, for example. But even within education, we see people doing, I've worked with customers where we're working with them on data-driven techniques to understand whether students are studying well, learning well, attending well, and using that data to predict their performance and helping to interdict that if it's showing that they're going to fail or trail off, and you can get to them early. So even EDU is doing some really great digital things. I would say there's examples in every vertical. We know examples from fintech here. I think retail is doing really well. They're being forced to by a certain very large electronic online retailer. Yes. Entertainment, I mentioned, obviously new ways of streaming and new ways of providing information. We're right here doing a new digital publishing. Right, so publishing's doing pretty well. I think laggards in places like oil and gas, construction, state and local government as well. Funding is an issue for them more so. So there's pockets. And I think, every vertical's got some good digital transformation going on because they've got some good people driving it. But it's across the board, I think, David.
So it really means it goes back to just the culture, right? It just changing the culture at the organization and kind of helping that, the culture move the digital transformation forward for the company itself.
Yeah, you got it. Because people are the hard part, right? Technology's sort of easy. I can adopt a cloud. I can get some analytics. It's the human side, process, learning, mindset, culture. Absolutely. It's really critical.
So how, tell me, how are you helping kind of customers understand, like, everything that they're doing is driving, everything they're doing is driving their data strategy. How they're creating that data is really kind of moving them forward. How are you helping customers understand that?
Yeah, David, it's, in a lot of ways to try and help my customers understand that data is so critical. Part of it starts with showing examples, right? And specific examples that people can relate to in their business world. Everyone talks about, I want to be the next Google. I want to be the next Netflix. You know what? That job is taken. You can't. If you're in retail or oil and gas or maybe state and local or anywhere else, you can't be the next Netflix because Netflix is already the next Netflix, right? They're innovating and iterating and doing all the good things. So showing examples from their industry. I said that all verticals have good examples. So showing the examples, and honestly, even in pockets, if not entire industries, it's often not hard to show how data disrupts their business. point to a competitor who's using data in specific ways and going, look, you know what they're doing, and they're trying to eat your lunch. So let's see what you're doing. And then helping them with specific use cases that are appropriate to their environment. So showing the value of these data-driven opportunities. I tend to focus mainly in areas around technology development. So things like adoption, delivery, and management, cloud, SaaS, mobile, consumerization. But there's all sorts of examples from digital marketing, digital sales, digital engagement with customers, and helping customers understand their own data inventory, what they have, what they use and how, what's left out. Where's that digital exhaust that's just pumping into the ether? And then showing connections and correlation. We started out talking about more data to more people for better outcomes. So showing that connecting these data sources, especially the ones that you are sort of ignoring, and that can be things like the web access logs, which are honestly pretty boring in aggregate, but also show incredible insight when you want to drill into them. And that intersection of delivery and data to show service quality, customer experience, innovation adoption, the market response, competitive advantage driven by data. And, once you get to that point, your competitors are doing this, you've got this data, you're missing out on this. This is where you could be for your technology and for your business. That's a whole new conversation at that point, David. It's very effective.
And so, Andy, I know you mentioned back in about cloud, right? And so how is cloud kind of helping companies manage data? Like, how is cloud going to affect us even more and helping manage that data?
Oh, cloud is so critical to this discussion. I mentioned before, ephemeral infrastructure and composable applications, right? So if you've got a monolithic system, you've got one source of data to understand what's happening. Your customer experience, your system performance, your system failure rates, all of these things. One place, super easy. Cloud is atomized. Everything is everywhere. And so it creates a data management challenge. It also creates an opportunity because when you understand how cloud works, it drives innovation. It's an innovation multiplier. When you look at innovation is often about iterating. It's not really light bulb moments, right? Mostly it's innovation, looking at results, analyzing it, going again. It's a data-driven opportunity. Does my innovation work? So cloud lets you collaborate, adopt third-party services, build your own services small, do that innovation approach of failure is always an option. Fail fast, fail cheap, fail small, fail forward, and use the data to learn from those experiments. So using that, you can enable that rapid, scalable, targeted innovation driven by data to meet the customer demand, the real market opportunity. And for data leaders, that means data is the foundation of innovation, of cloud-first, data-driven innovation. So doing things like trial and error, testing ideas, proving hypotheses, iterating, analyzing results with data, adopting the technologies that let you do that advanced innovation with data, analytics, machine learning, AI, predictive analytics. But also, as we mentioned, those human practices, right? Data ops, ML ops, AI ops, making data available to the organization in structured ways where you reduce the barriers to entry to data analytics for your organization so that your business leaders can drive their own innovation using cloud and using data. I'm super excited about that opportunity for data leaders.
We can see that. Oh my goodness, it's great. And listen, and you talked about, I know that in your talks, you talk about, data ops, DevOps is important. And could you talk about, DevOps, and then could you talk about also how, and I know you talk about IT, so how IT can transform itself to be more part of the data strategy of an enterprise as well?
Yeah, look, IT has to go through a pretty radical reformation of itself. A lot of companies have gone pretty well with this, setting up things like product funnels So our product team, we think about the Spotify model, even if they don't use it anymore, it's still got things to teach us. I think IT needs to realize that the world going forward is cloud first, it's customer centric, and it's consumer or consumer-like experiences. So providing capabilities for integration and collaboration, communication, that's what DevOps is all about, right? Communication, collaboration, and integration between Dev and Ops to deliver better services faster. Adopting external services. You don't have to build and run everything yourself. Again, cloud gives you this opportunity. APIs, function as a service, serverless, rely on your partners to do the set of stuff you're not awesome at, and focus on your core competency, focus on your ability to innovate. I do believe IT needs to adopt this idea of relentless automation. Connecting things across platforms with multi-channel engagement, using techniques like process automation, a CI/CD, part of the DevOps lifecycle, to do everything at digital speed. We can't have humans dealing with this stuff anymore. Data is so, the big data, right? The 3 V's. Your audience absolutely knows that. You can't deal with data at that scale, scope, and speed with human brains. We're just not made for that. Machines will do it really well. So get ahead of that, adopt the technologies, adopt the processes, focus on your core competency, and get ahead of that business need by being the advisory expert, not the owner. Pass-through technologies are great if that's not your core competency, but open yourself up to the rest of your business to be that expert. Advise, market, sell to them. Don't demand or impose. Adopt that product mentality to service delivery, including, as I said, pass-through for best-in-class and non-core cloud services, for example. And you'll set yourself up to be super valuable for your company because your business forward in terms of core competencies and innovation, while you're letting other partners, especially cloud partners, own the stuff that runs your business and isn't exciting or driving additional revenue and other expansion.
Excellent. Well, listen, this is great. I mean, listen, Andy, do you have any last minute, I want to say last minute words, but departing words for us at the end of our interview here? What should we expect going forward for, in the next 12, 24 months in the future of where data transformation, where this is all going? Yeah,
well, I actually believe in the hype cycle, David. So I think in the next 12 to 24 months, you'll see a lot of people walking back on machine learning and advanced analytics and AI. I think there'll be we've already seen some issues around AI and bias introduced by humans. I think one of the big issues over the next 12 to 24 months will be around things like data privacy, data ethics, data utilization, data ownership, migration, ownership in the cloud, data at rest, data in motion, encryption. These sorts of ethics and privacy issues are going to become much more important. They will feed into other areas around bias and bias mitigation. I think that's critically important for how we deal with data these days. So I think that's really important. But automation and advanced management is going to be the big opportunity. So I talked briefly about data ops and ML ops and AI ops. So managing your data with automated fashion, making it accessible to everyone in your organization, that idea of more data to more people, providing better outcomes. Using ML ops to manage your machine learning algorithms. And again, adopt external ones, build internal ones, make them available, provable, verifiable to your business leaders. And advancing to things like AI ops, the artificial intelligence supporting IT operations. So getting ahead of problems, getting ahead of customer demand for features and functions, closing that feedback loop back to development, part of that DevOps lifecycle. This is where I think is going to be incredible opportunities to integrate these ideas of data analytics, cloud computing, and business growth and innovation. And I think the next 12 to 24 months is going to be a pretty exciting time. Excellent.
Well, listen, folks, this is why I couldn't wait to do this interview. I mean, listen, Andy, man, has such energy. His commitment to this data in general, his excitement behind it is just infectious, right? It's love. I would love it. But we got to end this interview now, but I'm going to tell you, Andy, I want to say thank you for spending time with us today. And folks, listen, please visit cdomagazine.tech for additional interviews. Thank you.